The Home Office website was targeted by an online protest this weekend, making the site inaccessible for several hours.
A group of hackers known as Anonymous appeared to admit responsibility for the disruption. Here's a look at what happened.
The Home Office website said service unavailable, but protest group Anonymous claimed on Twitter it was a cyber attack on Number 10, the Home Office and the Ministry of Justice against what it calls the government's draconian surveillance proposals of emails and the extradition of British citizens to the US. Gary McKinnon has been fighting extradition for 10 years for allegedly hacking into US military computers. And Chris Tappan was extradited to the US in February over allegations of arms dealing. A video posted on Twitter showed Anonymous supporters apparently heading for the Home Office yesterday. Anonymous claim they want the government to listen and will launch online attacks every weekend until they do.
Well, Gary McKinnon's mother, Janis Sharp, is with us now. Janis, nice to see you this morning. Thanks very much for coming in. In what ways are these young cyber protesters, do you think, putting themselves in danger?
I think they are. I mean, I think they're trying to help. And the fact that if people are doing that all over the world, it's almost impossible to stop. People think it's a hack. It isn't. It's an actual overload of the system by people sending information and requesting information. But I'm scared in case they end up getting themselves into trouble or they end up getting prosecuted or extradited. And I really don't want that to happen to anyone else.
Well, of course, the last decade for you has been dominated by fighting Gary's extradition case.
Yeah.
How is he at the moment?
He's awful. I mean, really terrible because when he saw Chris Tappan being extradited, it completely wrecked him. I mean, everyone felt for him, but it wrecked him. And he actually saw it as, because of Asperger's logic, why didn't he and his wife just have a suicide pact and take their own lives? Because he thought that is preferable to being taken away from everything you know to these horrendous conditions.
And do you think that's ever crossed his mind at all?
Oh, no, it has. I mean, that's... the psychiatrists that have seen him, Professor Baron Cohen, Professor Jeremy Turk and Dr Vermeulen, have all said that there is a serious risk of suicide, and that is what meets the bar for extradition to be refused. But it's a logic, and his way of seeing it is this is a logical answer rather than extradition, because extradition is so horrendous. People don't realise the punishment of extradition is awful. I mean, to be taken away from everything you know, for someone who never leaves the country and has got a terror of travel, for anyone, even for Chris Tappan leaving his wife and his family.
It is a huge grey area. No one is quite sure, it seems, what laws are being broken, if any. If indeed a law is being broken, how could someone get punished? Which is punishment to fit the crime. Is there an answer to that? Because extradition, well, obviously, we'll find out whether they are guilty of a crime or not, and then the right punishment can be meted out.
But they should be tried here. And if someone's fighting for their lives, basically, or facing 60 years, if somebody has to send over a few witnesses, fine. And in 2009, the CPS said the Americans had given them no evidence whatsoever of the alleged damage. But be tried, yes.
Even if the crime isn't here in the UK?
Well, it is if you haven't left it. That's the problem. There was a judge who gave evidence to the Select Committee, said it's a tiny minority who are actually physically here when the crime is committed. So why not let that tiny minority be tried here? If, for example, 10 different countries wanted someone, because on the internet it could affect 10 different countries, you can't have everyone after them. So really you have to look at it and think, no, in those cases, try the person in their own country. And for Richard O'Dwyer, for example, his isn't even a crime in this country.
The latest case, yes.
Yeah, it's actually copyright infringement. Yeah. That's a civil matter, surely. Since when did we extradite people for copyright infringement?
Yet to be decided, obviously, on his extradition. What's the likelihood, as we stand now with Gary and his extradition, will he be extradited?
Well, I think he absolutely shouldn't, because he meets the bar not to be, and also the bar is lowered if it's not exclusively foreign, if you were in this country. The medical evidence meets the bar for it to be refused, but apart from that, British justice has always had compassion in it. It's been 10 years. What else do they want to do to him?
Yeah.
You know,
his health is paramount to me.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and we wish him all the best. And thanks so much for coming in.
Thanks, Janis.